Hi, everyone. My name is Kazu Watanabe. I'm the Deputy Director of Film at Japan Society in New York, and one of the programmers behind Japan Cuts Festival of New Japanese Film. I'm very happy to welcome everyone to our live stream event for the closing night of this year's virtual edition of the festival. I'm joined by my colleagues and fellow festival programmers, Amber Noe and Joel Neville Anderson, and we're all very excited to close the festival out with the jury and recipient of our inaugural Obayashi Prize, which is presented as part of the brand new Next Generation section of the festival. Just before we got on live, we found out that the closing day today for Japan Cuts coincides with the theatrical opening of Obayashi's final film, Labyrinth of Cinema in Japan. So it feels extra appropriate that we can present the Obayashi Prize today. It's a bit of serendipity that carries over from the coincidence that Obayashi passed away on the day the film was originally supposed to open in Japan on April 10th before it was forced to shut down because of coronavirus. So we feel his presence especially strongly today. For those of you watching on our YouTube live stream, welcome and thank you for joining us. First, we'll introduce our esteemed jury and then have them read their collective statement regarding their decision for the Obayashi Prize. Then we'll have a conversation between all the programmers and the Obayashi Prize recipient, Anshul Chauhan, director of the film Kontora. Please feel free to participate by leaving comments and questions in the chat. We announced the winner earlier this week on Tuesday to give time for people to watch the film. So I hope you all had a chance to see it. Before then, Amber will provide some brief background about the Next Generation section and the Obayashi Prize.
Thank you, Kazu. As you know, Next Generation is a brand new addition to Japan Cuts. It is a section dedicated to spotlighting emerging filmmakers who create independently produced narrative feature films. And we are very excited this year to be able to introduce this section, which we originally were planning before coronavirus. This section is meant to further encourage the development of Japanese independent cinema. In thinking about the name for the prize of Next Generation, it didn't take us long to unanimously bring to a consensus on honoring director Nobuhiko Obayashi, who passed away earlier this year in April, as Kazu mentioned. The prize for the Next Generation section is not meant to award the recipient who most closely resembles the inimitable filmmaker. Instead, it is meant to, in his honor, share his spirit of freedom, innovation, creativity, and his love for cinema. Director Obayashi left us with the following words of encouragement for the next generation of filmmakers: to smile, to live, and to make tomorrow a little better than today. That is why I make films. So you guys continue the rest, okay? 笑顔と生きること、そして今日を少し明日を少し今日よりも良い日にするために僕は映画を作って明るみをするために僕は映画を携わってきたこと、あとはみんながやってみると。So I'd like to take this time to thank Kyoko and Chigumi Obayashi for offering this opportunity and for helping us establish this new tradition of the festival. Thank you. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joel, who will introduce the jury members of the Next Generation section.
Thank you, Amber, and hello, everyone. It's my great pleasure to introduce the prestigious members of the Next Generation jury who determine the recipient of the inaugural Obayashi Prize and are joining us virtually from Japan and Europe. This is really a dream team of Japanese cinema professionals, and we're so very grateful for their willingness to serve as jury members. So going in alphabetical order, Momoko Ando is a film director, and her debut feature as writer-director, Kakera, A Piece of Our Life, received wide acclaim in Japan and international festivals. In 2012, she published her first novel, which she then adapted into 0.5mm, one of the best films of the decade, in my opinion, which we're very proud to premiere at Japan Cuts. 0.5mm stars her sister Sakura Ando and received numerous awards in Japan and abroad, including the Shanghai International Film Festival Best Director Award. And Ando is also the representative director of the movie theater Kinema M in Kochi Prefecture, where she currently resides. Julian Ross is a programmer at Locarno Film Festival and International Film Festival Rotterdam. He's assistant professor at Leiden University Center for the Arts and Society and mentor at the Netherlands Film Academy. He's co-curator of the exhibition More Than Cinema, Motoharu Junichi and Keiichi Tanami at Pioneer Works in Brooklyn, and co-editor of the book Japanese Expanded Cinema and Intermedia, Critical Texts of the 1960s. And Julian is also currently in the UK, where it's 2 a.m. in the morning right now. So deep gratitude for sacrificing some sleep to join us. So thank you. Miyuki Takamatsu is the founding CEO of Freestone Productions, one of the only firms providing services both in Japan and overseas. Freestone Productions is involved in everything from production to sales, PR, and distribution, both in Japan and internationally. With her team, she's busy with international PR for the French Film Festival, the Kyoto Film Festival, and the Tokyo International Film Festival. And she's also producer of the film 10 Years Japan, which we were so happy to screen at the festival last year. So welcome, Momoko-san, Julian-san, and Miyuki-san. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. So thank you very much for introducing us, Joel. I would like to start from myself. I'm very, very happy to present this precious award. And now Momoko-san will be speaking out in Japanese to state for our decision, and Julian will be speaking out in English. So Momoko-san, please.
Okay, so I'm going to speak in Japanese. 日本を含む世界の映画業界が危機的な変化に直面している今、ネクストジェネレーションコンペティション部門は我々審査員に日本映画界の未来を見据えるというポジティブな意欲をかき立てました。受賞作品は大林監督が築き上げてきたように過去の重さとそれに伴う我々の責務を探求しています。過去の出来事に根ざした作品でありながら、登場人物の少女が成長する過程の多感な状況をきめ細かく描かれていることと、少女がいかに物語を導いていったかという点に心を打たれました。この作品の監督は、映画という枠の中で彼独自の世界を作り上げるべく、日本を見ることができる双眼鏡を持ち続けることが可能な監督だと信じています。猛スピードで変化し、進化するネクストジェネレーション。くしくも最も大和魂を感じる一本でした。そしてこれからの未来に最も期待を覚えさせたのは、後ろ向きに走る男を主人公にした映画でした。2020年日本映画祭ジャパンカッツの第1回大林賞は、アンシュル・チョーハン監督のコントラに贈ります。バイ
Okay, so now I'll read the jury statement out in English. In this year, when the film industry faces irreversible change, the Next Generation competition challenged us as a jury to look to the future. The film we chose explores the weight of the past and our responsibility to engage with it not alone, but together. For a film rooted in the past, we were struck by its sensitive portrayal of a teenage girl and how she became our guide. We believe in this director's ability to look Japan straight in the eyes, all the while using his own special binoculars. The Next Generation is something that never stops evolving. Curiously, it was the film that features a man running backwards that got us most excited for the future to come. The Obayashi Prize of Japan Cuts 2020 goes to Kontora by Anshul Chauhan.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. My name is Anshul Chauhan. First of all, I want to say thanks to Japan Cuts for accepting the film in this year's lineup. That was already a big news for all of us in the team here. And then I want to thank jury members for selecting the film for the Obayashi Prize. And it was, I mean, it is really good news, and our whole team here is super excited for the award. And I think it's kind of and if you see this year the way it is going, and it is kind of a very positive thing happened in all of our lives, and with all the hard work we put for the film. And yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you for organizing such a good festival and giving a platform to our small film. And it reached so many people, and I have received so many messages and emails from many people in America, and I'm really happy about I'm feeling really happy about whatever is happened with the film. I mean, yeah. So thank you once again, all the jury members, for taking out time to watch the film properly and understanding it. Yeah, that's all. And on the behalf of the whole team, I want to say thank you once again to the Japan Society, Japan Cuts, and the jury members. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you, Anshul, and thank you to our jury members. We'll say goodbye to you now. Julian-san, Momoko-san, Miyuki-san, thank you very much. And now we'll move on to the Q&A portion of this event. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So Anshul, again, thank you for joining us, and congratulations again. So we're doing a kind of unusual experimental Q&A. All three of us will kind of join you for formal conversational style Q&A. It's new for us. So we'll try not to step on each other's toes too much. We have some of our own questions. We have some questions that we're asking on behalf of the jury members. And then we have some questions that came in from online audience submissions. So we'll try to get to as many as we can in the next 30 minutes or so. Joel, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So really excited to hear your thoughts and insights on the film. So Director Obayashi was very interested in lessons from World War II and these multi-generational connections. And you're, of course, a much younger filmmaker, but you appear to be so interested in so many of the same questions, the legacies of past wars and connections between generations. And I'm just wondering what led you to pursue this subject in Kontora?
Okay. I mean, I have always been interested in the military and the army themes, and it also comes from my family background, because my father and grandfather, they both were in army, and I also studied in military academy. So I'm really influenced by anything happening in and around army, and I read a lot of news about all these things happening. And I mean, before making Kontora, I actually, since I am from military academy, and I wanted to always make a film around that subject, or like what actually happens in academy. And also I actually originally wrote a script based it was, the script was based on one of the incident I read in the newspaper about a guy who hanged himself in a hotel after running out from the Yokosuka Academy, Naval Academy here in Japan. So and one of the producers asked me that he want to help me to make the film, but after reading the script, he kind of disappeared. He said, I can't do this, it's like an anti-government, is there? So I was like, all right. And in that film, there was a particular scene about the digging sequence was in that film. And this scene was so important for me to film in 2018. I thought I have to shoot this scene anyhow. So just to make that film, And just to make that scene, I wrote like the whole Kontora, which I could make by myself in the very, very limited budget. So yeah, and so this is what kind of, and also the scene is based on real stories from my family background and what my grandfather did. Yeah, so basically I am coming from the military background, and that's why I was interested in exploring this theme in the film. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think the casting choice of Wan Marui is extremely effective. Can you talk a little bit about how you chose to cast her and what it was like directing her?
Okay, Wan Maru, yeah, she's a really good actress. So first I met Wan Maru in, I think, 2017, just after I finished the production of my first, shooting my first film. I met her in with another Eiji Uchida-san and me and Wan Marui and another actor from Bad Boy Tokyo. We all went for drinking and all. So she was that time, I think, 18 years old. And she just came from Osaka. She didn't know, she wanted to become an actress. And I that time I just realized, oh, she has a very strong face and I would love to cast her someday, but I didn't talk to her much. And then we forgot, we didn't talk to each other. And then when I wrote this film I was talking about, this Yokosuka-based academy film, that time I called her for the auditions, and she came in for one of the characters audition. And then that film didn't, I mean, I couldn't make that film. So I was like, okay. So, and I also forgot about one at the time, but while writing Kontora, I just could not, her face keep appearing to me. I was like, all right. So I started to do Photoshops, like without telling her, like, I think she also don't know that, and these goggles, I just wanted to see somebody's face with the goggles looks extraordinary and all. And so that's how I started to develop her characters, and I started to check her pictures more and more. Then I started to meet her, and I had some, good talk with her. She came home also, and we talked. And slowly, even though she never worked before in this big, as a main lead character, she only did some extra roles or something. But somehow I was very confident that she can. And she's from Osaka, so she's very strong personality she has, and I wanted to just pull that out in the film. Yeah, first day of the shooting was very hard for both of us, because and we only did like 1 day rehearsal actually for the film, with 1 or 2 days I think we had. Yeah, because for rehearsal you have to book another place, and also then all these things happen. And so yeah, first day, the scene when grandfather passes away and she's expressing herself and all. So that day I was like what's happening? I'm not getting what I want, and she couldn't do what she wanted and all. But slowly, I mean, I think second or third day, the day she was digging in the forest, first day when she goes out, she started to dig, and that day I think she completely became Sora. While she was digging, I started to behave with her like a military man, kind of commanding her from behind a tree. I was standing behind a tree, and Max, cinematographer, was standing on the hill, and it was kind of a deep area in the forest. So she was alone there. She was digging, and she just got so frustrated because I was pushing her. So she just took out her jacket and her bag and threw away, and she just went into it. After that, after I said cut, and she was just trembling so hard, and she couldn't breathe properly. And after that, she was like, okay, I should not use this word, like, fuck it, like, I'll do it, like, just bring it on anything. And I was so happy after that it went all smooth with her. Yeah, and also after that we end up doing so many improvised scenes, and she was really comfortable with it.
Yeah, another of the really remarkable performances is from Hidemasa Mase, who plays the backward walking man.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone's going to ask you, I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about this character. He seems to represent many things. But I'm curious about where the idea came from and how you directed him to behave.
Yeah, so before anything, this film was supposed to be a bit on the romantic side, which I completely removed when I found out he's also an artist. I was like, all right. Before that, actually, I was about to cast somebody else, but then I saw his Instagram page. He made caricatures and all. I was like, okay, I should meet him. So I was planning a way to represent these war scenes, and of course I didn't have budget, to make these big scenes and all. And I also come from animation and art backgrounds. And when I found out he's an artist, I was really, really curious. So I met him. I called him to my home, and we talked. So that's how, and he's the one who made the art in the film, also the diary. So that's how we started working on the character, that he would come every day to my, or not every day, every weekend to my house, and I will tell him, okay, on this page you have to make this, and you have to write this. So idea was to put him inside the diary himself, like slowly. So he will go back home, he will make it, he send me the pictures, how, what do you think? And we revise over the drawings and all. So slowly we end up making a diary, we just finished just one day before the shoot. And for his character, I mean, of course he didn't understood. I didn't tell them the meaning behind walking backward. I told them you don't need to know. So he even though he wanted me to tell him why I'm doing this, what is the meaning of the character, I said you don't have to know, and you will know at the right moment in the film, which he did while shooting the film, which I wanted that happen. But he started, so he had only like 12-15 days to prepare physically. So he started eating like very less, and he lost like 10 to 12 kgs in like 10 days. And he was practicing walking backwards in Komedo, and when I was calling my home, he was coming backwards from the station to my home also. He did a lot of rehearsals for that. Yeah. And about the theme of backward walking, I mean, it was, of course, it has so many meanings that it's hard to put in words. And I mean, it's like, for me, it's hard to articulate anything, like why I'm making the film. So that is one of the reasons that I'm making the film, it's because I cannot say those or write those things down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but I saw one YouTube video, and the guy is from Derby, UK, and because of his mental condition, he walks backwards. You can find that on YouTube, his video. He's a very famous guy. So after I watched the video, I was like, okay, what is this? And never saw this before. And I was so pissed off because of the producer and everyone. I was like, I want to make a character who never made before, like nobody had ever made before. So I did a lot of research, and I found out nobody actually made a character who walked backward, like literally. It's like a weird character. Nobody does that. So purposely I wanted to write that character. So that's how I end up writing this character and putting all the layers of army background, the art thing, and my personal feelings about filmmaking and as an artist, everything. So whenever I was directing him, I was telling him to, on the emotional level, you have to be this high, this low, and that's how. But I usually leave actor really, really free and let them do whatever they want. And so I just tell them what I don't want. I never tell them what I want, kind of. So they keep doing it. No, don't do this. Let's go on the same way. And same thing with the cinematographer also. I don't disturb when they are like, I don't tell them what, I just tell them don't do this, that's all. But whatever they do, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up because you mentioned that you work as an animator on top of being a filmmaker, and one of the questions from the jury was, how does your experience with working in animation influence this film, or does it at all? Is it completely separate? You mentioned the collaboration a little bit with Mase and his ability to draw.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The thing is, in animation, everything is pre-planned. Like every single frame is, you have to make every single frame to to move the characters, and it's animator's job to put life into these dead characters. So it's a lot of body language and acting comes into play. I mean, animators deal with a lot of body language and acting. So I'm very interested in exploring body language subject. I read a lot about it and watch a lot of criminal videos and all, behavior science and all those things. So I'm really interested in that. So that's the only thing which I take from my animation thing in it. But otherwise, I want to go completely opposite in filmmaking, because animation is, everything is so much planned, and you cannot move here and there. And it's like a already edited thing. There is hardly any editor on board in the animation industry. They just put the whole film together, that's it. But they don't cut the scenes. Scenes are cut already when we get the actor's voiceover and the storyboard and the what do you call that, layout and all those things. So in the filmmaking, I just want to go opposite. I don't want to plan anything. I just want to discover things on the go. And so yeah, but yeah, the sense of framing and all those things, yeah, because I also do a lot of camera animation and all. I did it for many years. So yeah, there's a sense of camera and all those things. Yeah, yeah. So it helps a little bit. Yeah.
So this is your second feature after Bad.
This is my second feature. Yeah.
And I'm curious, not only what you learned from your work in animation, but what you learned from your first experience making a live action film that you applied here in Kontora.
Oh, first experience was really, I was like, every day I was like shitting my pants, basically. I was like really panicking because I did some short films with like 1 or 2 actors like that. They're very small, like one room, one location kind of. But when I actually have to move around, in a car, go to rental house, load all the stuff, go there, do this, deal with the police and all. And actors ask questions, like, oh, so why I'm doing this? Why am I was really, then I realized it's not a joke to make a film. So that's what I also learned from the first film. Also, the main thing which I took from the first films, like, I did so many mistakes. I did so many mistakes, which I keep telling people that it's not a perfect film, and I don't like my first film at all because I know what mistakes I did in it. I tried to compromise in some way. Oh, it's fine. Let's forget it. So in the second film, even though we had so much less time, I was planned better than the first. I did better planning in my mind. I mean, my own planning, my personal planning with the shots and dialogues or whatever. And also I tried not to compromise that much, even though we end up compromising a lot, but I tried to achieve what I wanted to achieve, even though there are many compromises. And also I learned better way to tell, in a good way to tell actors what I want, which was very hard for me in the first film. So I also learned like never say like nothing to the actor. You have to say something to them. So mostly about directing actors and all, because my communication with my cinematographer is pretty good. We both are on the same page almost all the time. Sometimes here and there it happens, like with cinematographer and directors are like couples, so the fights keep happening, but it's fine. It's for the creative changes, so it's not a big issue. But the only thing is to like so for Kontora, I wanted it to look more beautiful, and so placement and staging of the actor, who is going when, who is doing this. So I focus more on that. And in the first film it was like whenever I'm confused, I just still the camera. It's like the basic rule I follow. If I'm really I don't know what to do, everything should be still, because I don't know how to move the camera. The camera should be still, actor should be still, and just say the lines. But in second film, I moved the camera a lot. I mean, there's a lot of tracking shots, lot of follow shots, and all those. Yeah, so we played with the camera a lot. So yeah, and I also learned from this film many mistakes which I did, which I will improve in the next film.
Yeah. Well, I encourage audiences to seek out Bad Poetry Tokyo. I know it's available streaming through other media.
It's on Amazon Prime and Vimeo right now, yeah, and also in theaters in Japan.
Yes. Yeah. And both films, just kind of drawing a few connections. Both films involve young women who are kind of breaking out of small towns or have already broken out of small towns. There's also the kind of commonality of the 3 people playing in the water. I'm wondering just what draws you to these narratives of kind of breaking out of the small rural space. And like
I mean, story also comes from the locations I get, and I only know Tokyo very well. And then in Kontora, we had the Seiki City, which is a beautiful town. So I mean, this is and also it comes because I never write a film and then cast. I don't want to do that. I try not to do that. I usually fix the actors in my head, and while writing, I keep them in my head. So somehow I had all my trust in One Maru, even though she didn't know that I was writing for her till long time. I just told her like a few months before. So yeah, I mean, and at the same time, I mean, one of the theme which is similar is like the mother is missing in both the films. So it also comes from a point of view, because while writing, I don't want to be fake, because before I used to think, okay, I should write very philosophical stuff, this and that. Then I felt like this is stupid, and this is not me. I should just write what I know in real life, what I can write, the characters I can write, basically. So I realized I still cannot write mother characters somehow. It's really hard for me to put dialogues into mother characters. So I'm like, okay, I just remove them from the film. so it comes like that also. And so in both the film, this river scene is kind of, I didn't realize when I was doing in Kontora that it was kind of similar also in the first film. But in one time while shooting, I want to let actors free completely. Like I tell them, be Wan Marui or be Mase or be Yamada. Don't be your characters in the film. I want you to be yourself as you are in the outside world, and do what the hell you want to do in these shots. But I just tell them basic thing: you have to do this, and now go, and no cuts, nothing. So they just start playing, and So while we were shooting those scenes, I was just shouting, okay, now do this, now do that in the middle, because there were no dialogues in that. So I don't need to keep in mind about editing and all those things. So I just wanted them to have fun in those sequences, and just because after those scenes, very crazy scenes were coming. So I was like, okay, let out whatever you have inside. And at the night time was the birthday scene and one of my favorite scenes of one movie. And so I was like, okay, whatever fun you want to have, this just having this scene, and let's get serious after this. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned your nighttime scenes, but can you describe a little bit about your choice to not shoot in black and white, but to make it black and white in post, and the nighttime scenes as well? In terms
nighttime scenes, as in the scenes outside in the forest, or? Okay, yeah. So when I was writing the film and researching the pictures from World War and all those times, it was always in my mind the film was black and white, always. I mean, I had a huge collection of pictures and all, which I collected, which I wanted to put in the diary. So the image was always black and white. And also Max, my cinematographer, and we have been talking. We actually tried to make my first film into black and white in the post, but somehow we didn't do that. But we said, okay, this is the chance, and this is the right story to do that also, because it's kind of a dedication to the World War and like grandfathers and all who fought. And that time I saw many documentaries, they were all in black and white. So all the inspiration was coming from the black and white sources. So we did shoot film in color, but my monitor never, I told them I don't want to see color. So I always saw black and white. Yeah. So it's easy to make decisions while shooting. Otherwise, if we are shooting which shot, I mean, in camera, of course, it's recorded in color, but the output was black and white. So in post, yeah, also, then Max did a great job in color grading to make it more, put more feelings into that. And he's a professional color grading artist, so he's really, really good. He's one of the top artists here. And I'm lucky to work and to have him as a both cinematographer, and because he can see what's a mistake he's doing so that we can fix that in the post, or so it's kind of connected. So it's also easier that way. The night scene, actually the jungle scene is a lunchtime scene, is a evening scene, but the forest was so dense that even in the daytime there was no light, like hardly. And that's kind of one of the regrets I have, that in that scene it was supposed to match with the outside when Taichi Yamada's character were driving the car to find the daughter, you know. So yeah, but it's all right. We wanted to be more natural also, not to look it very fake. So we hardly use any lights also. We just went with natural sources and all. Only 1 or 2 scenes have lights we used. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, and can you talk a little bit more about what you just said about the location and the forest, and what circumstances brought you to shoot in that location in Sekisi?
Yeah. Okay. So the location is a very small, beautiful town called Sekishi in Gifu. So this is the hometown of the actor Taichi Yamada, who played the father of Sora. So while writing the film, before writing the film, I met him, and he previously worked in my first film as a small character, as a bar owner. And so we were talking. So we wanted to work together, and all. So I said, okay, if you wanna act, because I told him I don't have producers and anybody, so I cannot write a film the way I want and then hunt for the locations or find producers to fund my film. I already failed in pitching one of the film before this. I don't want to go into another script finding out that it's not going to happen. So I told him, if you give me your hometown and the locations, show me around first, and if I get inspired, then I will write the film. So he said, okay, come my home, and we took his car. We drove from Tokyo to Seiki City, and when we was entering the village, first thing I saw was the cliff, which is in the end of the film, and I wrote the ending right away. Like, this is it. I have my film. Like, the ending of the film was fixed that moment. Then I saw the cliff, which we show in the end of the film. Yeah. Then he brought me to his house and all the rooms, and we noted when the light comes in, all those like technical part. Then he showed me his sister's carpenter shop, his grandfather's carpenter shop, which nobody's using, is abandoned. So it has a great source of light in the daytime. Like, beautiful light comes in. I was like, wow, okay. So I kept taking pictures, and he took us to temples and the river and his friend's factory. They make aluminum. What do you call that? Die cast factory of aluminum. So all these places which belongs to his friends and his family. So I just took pictures and I wrote down some briefs and all, and I went back home and I told him I will come back to you after 2-3 months or something. So I started to think about the subject and all. Then I sit down for the writing one day, and within a week I had the whole script ready, and I told them, okay, I want to go back with Max now. So I took Max next time. Then Max brought his camera and all, and we did test shoot in all the locations roughly, like how it's gonna look like, which like aspect ratios and all those things, technical part. And we also met local villagers and all, and some of them we made them agree to be part of the film as extras and all those things. Yeah. Then we came back and we started the rehearsal process for a few days, and then we just finalized the 10 days. Everybody took off from their job. We just went there and shot the film and came back. Yeah.
You mentioned before about watching these, I assume newsreels about World War II, or were these fiction films? The film seems to have so many visual references that remind me of other films. And I wonder if you had any direct influences, or if there were any cinematic references that were important for you.
No, I think only thing I didn't watch any color film while writing it before. I said I will only watch black and white films if I want to watch for any. And usually while thinking about the film and writing the film, I never watch film because in some way it might influence or something like that. So I always watch films after finishing the script. The script was done. So mostly I watched Belatar's films, The Turin Horse and Santan Tango, and all those films I watched. And I also told Max that, and I always share with my film the music I listen to while writing and the films I'm watching. I always keep sending, okay, I'm listening to this right now. I'm in this mood. So for this mood, I'm listening this. For this mood, I'm listening this. So I mostly listen to so many musicians, like composers from Europe and Hungary and all, from Russia, mostly. And then I watched the full length documentary which just released at that time on Netflix, the Vietnam War. It was in color though, but previously I have watched a bit of bits and pieces in black and white also. So I watched the whole film just to get in the mood of, even though we are not showing the war actually in the film, which I was not capable of doing so, but I just do things around the film only. I don't want to go out. So same thing I sent to Juan and Mase also. Okay, watch this. Don't think anything, just watch, just get into it, the mood of it. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. I forgot the question already. Sorry.
No, that's great. We were taking bets on if Bellatar was a direct reference or not. So really? I was happy to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I also keep sending the image of Santan Tango's girl who's walking, to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see the initial pitches of the film, I mean the pitch doc which I made to show to my team, this is the visual reference. So that girl's face is the biggest. It was also in my wall on above my desk while I was writing all the time. So I told Juan, look at the honesty and innocence in her eyes, and things like that. And I always told her she's not an actress. The actor just found her and they casted. So when you act, don't think about any pressure of acting or you have to act. Don't think like that. Be yourself, and we will work around and we play around and see what happens. So yeah.
Great.
So this film, Kontora, screened in Japan Cut's new section dedicated to independent films and emerging or early career directors. How do you feel about the current state of independent filmmaking, and what needs to change? What inequities have been revealed because of the COVID-19?
In Japan, you mean, or
in Japan or elsewhere in the kind of independent?
I'm more familiar with Japan, so I'll talk about here. But yeah, in general, I think I don't know. I mean, it's hard to when you become the part of the filmmaking community, it's hard to comment also on the same time. The thing is, indie film industry it's easy to it's easy to make films here. It's not hard. If you really want to make film here, it's easy. First, because Japan don't have unions like SAG-AFTRA and all. I mean, I should not say that, but that's the truth. I mean, you can get actors on cheap and all, you know. So if you're a new director, you want to make a film, if you don't have much money, you can easily make a film. That's not a big problem. The problem comes when the film's finished here. You know, the problem comes in the distribution system. That's what I personally felt. Distribution system is, it sucks here. Like, it's hard to like go to people to show the film and get the distributors, and then distributors, once the distributors comes on board, if you're lucky, otherwise you just have to hire a PR, which you have to certain money, which might be more than the money you put in the film, you know, and then he will be able to hardly book one theater or maximum 2 theater, and the film will die forever. After that, nothing will happen. Few films like which is supported by companies like, I don't know, Third Window Films or something like that, they reach out more, you know. So yeah, it's good that companies like that exist so that they support indie filmmakers. But usually I know so many filmmakers, they make films and they do a limited screening of like maybe even 3 or 4 days or maybe even 1 day, you know, they book the theater and they show, and you can see the pain in that, because everybody's dream is to, you know, show their film on the bigger screen, and you want the houseful audience. It's also to get inspired on a personal level as a director. But that's what I feel here, the main problem in indie filmmaking industry. That, I mean, even if I say there's not much support, it won't be right, because why would anybody would support? It's their money. They can choose to not support or not support. But yeah, it's not hard to make film, first of all, but the main problem comes in the distribution system here, I think. Yeah, in theater and distribution system, because if I want to get bigger theaters, I cannot do that because they're controlled by certain lobbies, you know, like that. Because you can't even dream of putting a film into bigger theaters. You just have indie theaters, and during the Corona time and theaters were closed down, every theater have 2 to 3 employees working in them. And there are so many of them. And my own film was running in the theater at the time when the theaters closed down, and then they started a campaign of Save the Cinema, which went very, very well. And I'm really happy that so many people have supported them. So at least they can survive for a few months until the films are, you know, bit better, until the things are bit better and run normally. Yeah, so that's the thing. But I still, on a bigger level, I feel a huge difference in Japanese indie films and the indie films elsewhere in the world. I'm also talking about the quality of the films here, and also the subjects people pick. I mean, I'm not Japanese, and it's very weird to talk about this subject because I kind of belong to in a smaller level. But I also feel like the new directors here who just come out of the colleges, they are not hitting the right subject. I don't know why the same subjects are being repeated here. For example, use of this kawaii culture, the use of schoolgirls and making the love stories around them. There are millions of films. Why? That's why I wanted to use a schoolgirl and use her into opposite direction. I wanted her to explore the history rather than to romance to somebody, you know, like, and all like beautiful things, you know, like all these things. So I cannot say I have a problem with this thing. Of course, it's anybody's choice to make any film, but as a whole, as an industry, I'm saying they should challenge themselves more, because there are so many crazy subjects to be made in Japan. Like literally nobody's touching those subjects. There are so many of them. You can just pick up any newspaper, and I mean, usually people think Japan is a very peaceful country, no crime happens, but just go to the crime page and you see what kind of things are happening here. So I read a lot of news, and also I usually go to opposite direction, and I cannot make a film where I feel I'm not being honest and write a character which I don't relate with on a personal level. So I just feel if all the new directors especially are making some really good subjects, picking a good subject, then there could be a kind of new wave happening here. Otherwise, I don't see it happening anytime soon, where everybody is doing the same subject. You can just name it: Yakuza, samurai, and kawaii girls, schoolgirls, love story. That's it. Or some kind of horror films. That's it. Yeah, more realistic stories should be made more. That's what I feel about. Yeah.
Maybe this is an appropriate segue to get to some audience questions. Speaking about the subject of filmmaking, this audience member wants to know how you got the financing of your film. You know, it's been said that you shot the film in 10 days. So I was wondering, what was your camera setup? It looks like $1 million and you achieved such quality so quickly. Any advice for crafting minimalist films for aspiring filmmakers?
Okay. First of all, I am myself an aspiring filmmaker. I don't think I just made it, but still I have so much to learn. But yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, the budget came in. The budget is so less that, I mean, I can't even say that. It's kind of embarrassing. It's really cheap budget, but I'm happy that team came together and they agreed to work on that budget. But as I was working in Studio Attic at that time, when I was thinking of the filming, and one day my office party was going on, my CEO of the company was drunk. So I called the producer of the animation project. I said, come here and go and tell him that I need money for the film. Just like that, I said randomly. And he actually went to him and he said, why? He started abusing on the CEO, like in a funny way. He's a funny guy. He said, why this guy, he made already one film and he's working in your studio for 5 years. Why don't you support him? He was like, okay, how much you want? I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? I told him, please tell me tomorrow morning. You're drunk right now. He said, no, tell me, I'll give you right now. I was like, all right. So I told him. So the next day morning, and I told him, do you remember? Like, yeah. He was forgetting. So I kept pushing him. No, we talked about this. He said, all right. So he just gave me a little bit of money. And so that's why then I found the location. Of course, it's a cost. I mean, if I have to rent all those locations, you know, and if I had to rent all those crazy things, locations, you know, big team, of course, the budget will go really, really big. I mean, would have gone really big. But since we got the location for free from Yamada-san's, for like hotel, we didn't stay in hotel. Everybody slept in 3 rooms in Yamada-san's house. One room was all male members, one was all female members, one was the senior members kind of thing. Yamada-san, Shimizu-san, and his team. So that's how we slept in the house. And morning we wake up, we make breakfast, and everything we kept like a homely, like a very tight. And also there are not many characters in the film, so it was easier that way. About the camera setup, it's the same. So the Max owns the camera, and the lenses and everything. He owns it, so we didn't have to rent the camera equipments. And same thing with the Rob, the sound recording guy. He also owns all his equipments. And we agreed to work on certain fees. I said, okay, if you're not comfortable with it, you're always free to say, no, you can't do that. So they agreed. So I said, okay, let's do this then. And yeah, that's how we shot. And the quality of the film also came out from the choice of the location we did, which has a good natural lights and all. I mean, of course, if you're making a film on a minimum budget and a minimum scale, you have to be smart. I mean, also at the same time, how to use the location in your benefit to not, it actually look like a really cheap film, you know. So yeah, also Max is a really good cinematographer, you know, in that way. And also he is a color grading artist. So the finished product looks very nice. And overall, the emotions from the film also comes from Yu Makoda, the musician of the composer of the film, which one of my friend introduced me to him in a bar. And he is like really, really talented. So I started to, and he is mostly inspired by cinema also in general. So it was very easy to work with him, and I left him completely free, like do whatever you want to do it. And I also brought him to the location after the shoot was finished. Everything was finished. I brought him one day for 2 days in Seiki City and explored so I told him, okay, I shot my film in this location. I shot in this is the grandfather I shot. And we made him sing some songs and ask about the stories from World War. And he was recording everything. Yuma was recording everything. We went to the river, the mountain. He recorded. He just got inspired by the atmosphere. And then he just closed himself maybe for 1 or 2 months while I was doing the editing. He was making the music. And then when he sent back to me one batch, then second batch, the third batch was almost final, and we just tweaked a little bit. But yeah, that's how we end up making the whole film in a very, very small budget, like a family. Yeah. And everybody took part in the production. Like, for example, we didn't have, like, you know, dolly and grips and all that. So Yamada-san had this van, a small car, So he was the driver between his takes. So he was driving us, and Max is sitting on the top of the truck, and I was holding him, and the Peter, the second AC, the first AC of the film, who was doing the follow focus. He was doing the follow focus, and one day before the film started, our follow focus broke down, not working. So he did everything because before it was remote follow focus, it broke down. He was doing everything by hand. So we all three were on the top of the car. I was telling, like, bumping on the car, okay, slow down fast, and that's how we made the whole film literally like this, like run and shoot, literally. And also the longer shots were designed to show that the production can be finished fast. One take, long shot. Otherwise, if you take like action here, then reaction, this, that, it gets very long. So the shots I designed was around that. Okay, we have to take one take as much as possible. So in editing also is very smooth, just pick and just drop it there, kind of. Yeah.
All good advice, I think. Just one more brief audience question. We know that the war is obviously important to this film, but this viewer is wondering if there are any other bits of Japanese history or folklore that inspired any part of the film.
Not really. I mean, even though the character, I did not tell or did not portray in the, I did not clearly mention in the film who actually he is. I left many notes. From the starting, from the moment he enters the film, you can see him happy, kind of thing. So it's like a coming back to something he belonged to before for me. And there are many gestures, small places I left suggestions, like audience to pick. Also the songs he was singing is not Japanese. He made it up, all of them. Right? Because I wanted it to make it look like somebody from another world, kind of, another language, everything. That's how I created this character till the end when he transforms, and people realize, oh, he might be himself, the grandfather himself, some things like that. But it's not a folklore, but it's kind of a thing in the Asian culture, not only Japan, also I think China, India, whatever. I feel like the respect to grandfather and the people who die is a very huge into their culture. It's like really deep in the culture in Japan also. That was one of the things to get inspired for that character particular. But in particular, there was no folklore kind of thing. Yeah, but in India, we do have stories of like a ghost or something whose feet are backwards and they walk like that. So it just came in my head once or twice, but I did not think about that too much. Yeah.
Cool. Do you mind sharing with us, to the extent that you can, what future projects that you're working on now?
Oh, yeah, I'm right now, actually I just finished one of my third film script. I mean, after Kontora, going to the festivals, I started getting many messages from producers and all of this. I was like, okay, I was suddenly happy, but at the same time, I was already into another film, and which I was writing this year in Jan and Feb, and I finished the script and I sent to one lab and it didn't work out. So I was very sad, but anyway, because of the lockdown happened and a lot of, it really, like, it was bad time, still going on. But one good thing happened is, like, I end up changing that script into completely contained environment, which also reflects my own feelings of this situation going on. So I have a script which I just finished the day before yesterday, and I will start, now I'm revising it. So I will start the pre-production pretty soon, but I'm still looking for some kind of help from the financial point of view. But in any way, even though I don't get the finance or whatever it is, I know that I will end up making films, because there are some stories which you cannot let go. I mean, also I can only focus in one story. For example, if I have this subject and character stuck in my head, I really want to make it right now, because if I go to another year, I cannot make them, because I'm feeling in a certain way about this character right now. So that's why I think I will anyway make this film. And it's a contained genre film shot in and around one car only. It's going to be very difficult shoot. I know that, because there are some car shots in both of my films, and it was really annoying and irritating to shoot those shots, because hookups and all. You have to go back with the car and then shoot again this, and it's a lot of sound in the car, you know, a lot of technical problems. So I don't know how the hell I'm gonna make this film, but I'm interested in the story point and the characters right now. So yeah, and I forgot to tell it. It deals with the subject which is kind of not explored yet, or maybe I don't know. It deals with subjects, people who disappear in Japan, Johatsu and all that culture. People who hire professionals to make them disappear overnight and change their identity and all. So the film is about that, and street thieves, so, and mental disability, and there are many layers in the film. It's kind of a thriller. So if I can make it that way, I don't know. It depends. Yeah.
Wow, we can't wait. And we really hope to have you in New York for Japan Cuts physically in the not too distant future. But before we close, I just wanted to ask, you know, from a filmmaker's perspective, what was it like participating in an online film festival like this? I know you had a lot of communication through social media audiences.
Yeah, I think even though I really wanted to be in New York, because first I never been there, and second, I have never screened any film there, even including my short films or first film. It was never, I don't know, somehow none of the festivals took it. So I was like, this is the first time actually any of my film was playing in New York, and my whole team was wanted to be there. But anyway, it didn't happen because of Corona, but it went online. And I think there's so many positive things happened because of that, because it reached more audience first, and more than it would have been in the physical, you know, screening, because I think so many people watched from throughout America, and I got so many messages and emails. I was really happy about it. So yeah, I think it reached more people. And also second, I think it is good that festivals who are deciding to go online rather than completely shutting off because of Corona, I think it's a very good thing that Japan's chose to do this, you know, festival, and also in a very interesting way. All these, like, even small things, details like the image of the poster and this green background and the kind of sessions like Q&A and all, it's all pretty interesting. It's not just basic. That I'm sure there's a lot of hard work and the big team behind it. So yeah, I really, as a filmmaker, I'm really happy with whatever happened with Kontora in Japan Cuts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, really thanks to the whole team of Japan Cuts on behalf of Kontora's team. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Anshul.
Yeah, thank you again. We're gonna wrap here, but we really mean it, and we want to bring you to New York at the next opportunity. So we look forward to that. But
I hope I can make a film which can belong to Japan Cuts. I don't know if I make a shitty film. I don't know. I will never give that.
We'll talk. Yeah. But until then, yeah, please take care, and we'll say goodbye for now.
Thank you very much for everything. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.